Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to my channel from wherever you are tuning into. I am Coach Sherry, and it's my pleasure today to share with you this information. I am coming on here to share with you some information that I feel will help you propel to your next level, things for you to think about, to talk about, to consider. But either way, I wanted to come on here today to share it. So as you can see from the title of my thumbnail, if my breath is strong enough to blow out your flame, then it was not a strong enough fire. So I learned that last week. I heard that last week. I was at a conference, and y'all, when I tell you that I am doing what I absolutely love to do, that is such an understatement for where I am in my life professionally. Oh my goodness. So these past couple of months, I've been all over. I was in Sacramento, California, presenting at a conference. I was here in Charlotte, my hometown. Well, not my hometown, but my hometown where I'm at right now, presenting at a conference. I was just in Raleigh, North Carolina last week, presenting at a conference. And believe it or not, YouTube has really helped me with my presentations. You would be surprised at the skills that you can gain from being a YouTuber, from being a content creator. For instance, last week, I was in Raleigh, North Carolina, on the campus of NC State, and it was an association's conference that they held there. And many colleges, I'm finding, have beautiful hotels on their campuses, you know, for homecoming and for when alumni come back and delegates when they come in, and a place for them to stay that's real near. But we were on the campus of NC State at a beautiful hotel, and at that conference, it was a 3-day conference, but the first day, myself and a group of people, we collaborated and took different parts of information that we wanted to share with educators and other professionals, and we recorded our pieces. So many people were bent out of shape about the recording. It was a voice recording. It wasn't captured on video or anything like that. We just had to have what we were going to say and be able to just say it within 5-minute time frame. And so you could have taken as many takes as you needed. They had a producer there. They had the microphone, and, you know, it was really professionally set up. And so I noticed that a lot of people, they were at the table way longer than 5 minutes, talking with the producer, you know, recording their piece. And when I went, I recorded my piece in under 3 minutes. And when I came back to the table with the group that I was sitting with, they were like, "You're done?" I said, "Yeah, it was one and done. Listen, you put a microphone in front of me and it is a wrap. I got it. You know, I knew what I was going to say. I had it written out, and it was just that simple." And, you know, I really felt like YouTube helped me to prepare for that. Even when I do Zoom meetings or Teams meetings, WebEx meetings, whatever, when I'm on, I feel like being on YouTube has definitely helped. These pre-recorded as well as the live streams on StreamYard has really helped me to communicate with people and to make it more interactive, you know, and to make people feel more welcomed into the chat. But when I'm doing presentations, I'm making people feel welcome that are in the room, in the video or in the meeting. And so at any rate, that was what was going on. But while we were sitting around and waiting and talking and networking, a woman said that when she was in college, she always wanted to be a doctor, and one of her professors was trying to talk her out of being, well, actually it was high school. One of her teachers kept talking her out of being a doctor. He kept pushing her towards being an engineer. And she had, since the age of 5, wanted to be a doctor. And he said to her, "If I'm able to blow out your flame, then your fire wasn't strong enough." And sure enough, she's an engineer now, and apparently her fire was not strong enough. So you have to know what your fire is and what the actual foundation of your fire is, so that no one can come and blow out your flame. Even though she had that dream of being a doctor since the age of 5, it really was not a strong foundation. Maybe it was an occupation that she felt had longevity, an occupation that could make her a lot of money, an occupation that could really help people. But what was her foundation? I think about when I was growing up. And I grew up in the best town in the country. I've said it before, it's in northern New Jersey. If you know the name of it, put it down in the chat. But I grew up in, I believe, the best town in New Jersey. And homecoming was always Thanksgiving. We would play our rival in football, but the night before, we'd have this huge pep rally, and people that had graduated, went on to college or to other things, would come back, and it would just be a huge family reunion. And after the pep rally, we would have a bonfire, and then after the bonfire, we would have a party, and then we'd have to get up early in the morning for the parade and for the game. The game was either played in our town or the town over, which was our rival team. But the bonfire used to be huge. Oh my goodness. I don't even know how long they would plan for it, but every year it was consistent. It looked exactly alike. Even if it had rained, it still was a strong bonfire. And they would have the foundation down. They would have all this wood, and it would be huge, and it would just burn and burn until they took it out. But I always enjoyed that whole situation. It was so much fun, so many great memories. And when I think about the flame that we have for ourselves, I feel like it's the same thing. We have to build up a strong foundation. We have to build it all the way up, have it solid and burn it and let it burn until we decide to put it out. Don't let anyone put out your flame. When I was growing up, I was very fortunate to have parents that had achieved their goals, their dreams, and parents that never tried to put out my flame. Now, my father would challenge my flame. He would challenge my fire because he's that type of person. He wants to ask you as many questions about what it is you want to do to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting into. And if you don't have a high level of self-awareness, that could be very discouraging. Some people would just give up. But again, that's because maybe their fire was not strong. And so he would ask a lot of questions and things that would make you think again, to think deeper about what it is that you actually want to accomplish, to achieve. And as I matured, I started to realize that that's what he was doing. He was just really seeing things at all angles and making you see it for yourself. But it never burnt out my flame. And that's because my parents were so supportive, and I know not everyone was fortunate to have that type of support, but my parents, they never tried to discourage me from doing the things that I wanted to do in life. In actuality, my mother thought I could do everything in life. Oh my goodness. I remember she used to think so highly of me. I used to beg her, like, Mom, please stop saying that. I can't do everything. She would, oh, my Sherry can do that. Oh, my Sherry? Oh yeah, she could do that. Oh, no problem. My Sherry, she'll be here. She could do that. And I would tell her I can't do everything. But I'll tell you, when I took care of her, when I became her primary caregiver as she lived with ALS, that was definitely my last life lesson from her, because I did realize, yes, I can do everything. And if you put your mind to it, there's just about nothing that can hold you back but yourself. And so I was also fortunate to marry someone who also had that same support, who had that same drive as my parents. My husband was very, very goal-oriented in his career, and I had never seen a young person that goal-oriented, that determined. And he also always encourages me to do everything that I want to do, has given me free reign to do things that I really want to do. So it was a continuation just on a grown-up level, and I was fortunate to marry that, So not everyone has that type of story, that situation where they were raised by people who were not flame blowers, blowing out your flame. And then to marry someone who was just that and elevated it even more, that kind of support, it goes a long way. Especially when you step out here in this world and you have all those naysayers, people that are doubters, people that are looking at you side eye by the things or of the things that you want to do. I did a 2-year fellowship that was a remarkable experience, y'all. Woo, let me tell you, that was one of the most challenging things I had to do in my life. Ooh, every day I had to let myself know this will pass, this will be over, because I knew it had an end date. So I pledged years ago, and that was really hard to me. I pledged Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated when I was in college, and that was a challenging experience. But the only thing that kept me going is I knew I could not pledge my whole life. So one day it would be over. And that's what I kept telling myself during my fellowship. This will be over. You know, just let me get through each day and it will be over. Put one foot in front of the other and it will be over. And I knew that the experience that I got from there was going to be tremendous. It's one of those transferable skills that no one could ever take from me. And I talk about it often in my talks, in my, you know, when I'm talking about things like, you know, giving people examples, because it was so challenging, but I learned so much during that experience. And so when I was in the fellowship, the person who was over it, the director or the executive director, you know, at some points would always sit down with each of us separately and ask, you know, what are your thoughts? What do you want to do after this? How do you want to propel your career after this? And I always said, I want to talk on a large stage I want to be on a stage talking to a large group. And I would say it matter of fact. And it always threw him off because it was so odd, I guess. You know, no one usually says that. People will say, oh, I want to, you know, maybe I want to go into teaching. I want to start a business. I want to work for a company or whatever. I said, I want to be on a stage and talk to thousands of people. I want to be on a large stage. And he didn't discourage me from it. But, you know, he didn't try to put out my flame per se, but he definitely was not blowing any oxygen onto my flame. So he would kind of look at me and just be like, okay, you know, not really knowing how to navigate me through that. You know, I don't think he had any resources that could help me, but the way I said it so confidently, you know, he didn't have any choice but to believe that that would be something that I would do. And so it really just dawned on me the other month, let's say, and I looked up and I realized I'm speaking to thousands of people, like literally. You know, every week, every month in my career, I am speaking to large groups of people. And this was a goal that I had. I didn't know how it was going to, you know, lay out. I didn't know how the path was going to lead me down that, or what did it look like. But little by little, slowly but surely, I have been talking to large groups of people. And so when I really took a moment to recognize that that is exactly what I'm doing, it made me that much more grateful, you know? And that's the thing. When you set out a plan, when you know what's in your soul, what you are supposed to be doing, when you say it out loud, when you write it down, and when you continuously grow and develop towards it, one day it'll just be, it'll just happen. And you'll look and say, wow, I'm doing what I said I wanted to do all this time, you know? And I've seen that in so many people's lives that I'm close with. I've seen it in my parents' lives. I've seen it in my husband's life. And that's how I knew that it is for me too. So I hope that you have examples in your life of people that you've seen them get to where they are right now, because everyone has not just happened to be where they are. They had a journey. They had a path. And if you pay attention and listen to them, and I hope that they are willing to share with you their journey, their story, so you can hear how they continue to grow, to evolve. And so you can know that if they could do it, so can I. But again, yes, you may get that torch. You may take a piece of my flame from my fire and you say, okay, I got some of Coach Sherry's flame. Here I go. But that's not going to be enough. You still have to build your own foundation. You still have to get your wood and make it into a teepee so that it can burn strong. You still have to put the embers or the things on your fire so that it can grow and be strong. Because if you don't, even if you have that torch that was of someone else's flame, yours is going to sizzle out because it truly was not yours. Your foundation is not as strong. You have to understand that foundation. So many people think because they have a piece of that flame that for them it's going to do the same. And that is not the case. You have to build your own foundation. Know what your flame is and be strong with it so that no one's breath can blow it away. I hope you got a message from this. If you did, leave me a comment down below. It has been my pleasure being here with you today. I am Coach Sherry, and this is what I do, and it's my pleasure to share it with you. Have a great day and stay safe.